Good evening and welcome to CYC News for today, the 2nd of November 2014 and the 23rd of Baba 1731 AM. I'm Susie Michael. In today's headlines, His Holiness Pope Tawadros visits Russia, Minya streets and schools to bear the names of the Coptic martyrs of Sinai incident, Council of Heads of Catholic Churches calls on Syrian Christians to stay in their homeland, 1 dead in Virgin Galactic spaceship crash, and a new study shows a high milk diet may not cut the risk of bone fractures. His Holiness Pope Tawadros II left Cairo on Tuesday for Russia for a historic one-week visit. The Pope was received by Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and all Russia on Wednesday in the church headquarters in the Russian capital, Moscow. On his visit, His Holiness expressed the keenness of the Egyptian Coptic Church to continue cooperation, rapprochement and understanding with the Russian Church. His Holiness is expected to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin, as this is the Pope's first visit to Russia after his inauguration. His Holiness visited the Russian Kremlin building, where the Russian government headquarters, key administrative agencies and Duma or parliament councils are housed. The Pope saw 4 cathedrals and a number of small churches in the Kremlin. At the end of his visit to the Russian Kremlin in Moscow, His Holiness praised, quote, the greatness, magnificence and nobility of churches that he visited. He referred to the beauty and splendour of the icons, the huge construction, high domes and golden minarets. Pope Tawadros also visited the famous Church of Christ the Saviour, in which the inauguration of Russian patriarchs takes place. It dates to the end of 1812, where Tsar Alexander I ordered its construction as a thanksgiving to God's care after the evacuation of Napoleon Bonaparte's soldiers from Russia. In 1972, the late Pope Shenouda III visited the Russian Church as the head of a large church delegation for the first time in history. The Coptic delegation was met hospitably and warmly by Russian Patriarch Beeman, and the two parties exchanged gifts. Pope Shenouda III had paid another visit to the Russian Church in 1988 to participate in the celebration of the 1000th anniversary of the introduction of Orthodox Christianity to Russia. A number of streets and schools in Minya will be named after the Coptic victims of the Sheikh Zuwaid ambush that killed 31 soldiers last week, announced Major General Salah al-Din Zayada, Governor of Minya in Upper Egypt. The Governor also announced that he would try to provide job opportunities to a number of the brothers of the victims following the request of their families. The Governor met a number of families of the victims, and he agreed on giving the names of 3 Copts from Minya Governorate to schools and streets. The name of Shenouda Anwar Ishak will be given to Al-Athad Street in Minya City, the capital of the Governorate. The name of Aidel El Amin will be given to Balhasha Proprietary School, Magaga. The Governor will also decide on giving the name of Mufti Zaki Auni from Beni Haram village, Deir Mawas, to a school or street based on the request of the family of the martyr. It was also decided to give the names of Muhammad Abdul Karim Ahmed, Ayman Salah Abul Al and Omar Adli Muhammad, Muslims who died, to a number of schools of the Governorate. The Governor said that nothing can compensate the families for the loss, and he expressed his sincere condolences. He mentioned that the incident would not undermine the strength and will of the Egyptians, and they would complete the establishment of their state. The Council of Heads of Catholic Churches in Syria called on Syrian Christians to stay in their homeland in a meeting in the Melkite Catholic Patriarch, headed by Chairman of the Council and the Melkite Catholic Patriarch of Antioch, Alexandria and Jerusalem, Gregory III. The Council thanked Pope Francis because he, quote, supported the poor, displaced, refugee, the weak, the marginalised and the slave and victim of violence and terrorism. We ask him to raise his voice for faith values that are the future of the world. The Council thanked the Pope for his stances and his meeting with the Eastern Catholic Patriarchs. Patriarch Gregory III said that he thanked His Holiness, Pope of the Vatican, who also called on the apostolic ambassadors in the region to submit reports on the current situation and how to increase the financial support to parishes. The Pope said that he prayed constantly for peace in beloved Syria. Virgin Galactic Spaceship 2 spaceplane has crashed near California, with one person believed killed and the other seriously injured, according to News Limited. The craft suffered a serious anomaly during a test flight, the commercial spaceflight operator announced on its Twitter feed. The California Highway Patrol reported one fatality and one major injury. The sheriff's office in Kern County, California, said that it was the co-pilot who died, while the pilot ejected and was later transported to hospital. That tweet was by CBS Evening News. An eyewitness reported seeing a mid-air explosion and later finding the plane debris in the desert. Virgin boss Richard Branson tweeted his condolences and stated that he was flying to the area immediately. BBC reports that drinking lots of milk may not lower the risk of fracturing bones, a study in the British Medical Journal suggests. The research, conducted in Sweden, showed women who drank more than 3 glasses a day were actually more likely to break bones than those who had less. The researchers cautioned that their work only suggested a trend and should not be interpreted as proof that high milk consumption caused fractures. Factors such as alcohol and weight were likely to play a role, they said. Milk has been recommended as a good source of calcium for many years, but studies considering whether it leads to stronger bones and fewer fractures have had conflicting results. And that's all for CYC News today. Stay tuned for more Christian content on CYC. I'm Susie Michael, and from the CYC studios in Sydney, Australia, good night and God bless.